Comc, what are you doing to us? Really screwing over the sellers now. I used to love this basketball. Now I don't even know what to do with it. Bowman 1951 here. How's everybody doing? Bringing you the latest hobby news, and I wish it was actually better to talk about. Comc, checkoutmycards.com, is officially raising prices on all their service levels and extending times on your processing as well. So what used to maybe take 2 months at the cheapest level is now going to take 3, and it costs you even more money to do so. So let's dive right into all the changes coming to you and how it's going to negatively impact your sales and wait times and everything else that goes into your return on your investment for all the cards that you sell on site. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the timeline of all the events and everything that's changing, what you need to know, and when you need to have your cards in by. So let's go take a look at that now. They made the announcement on February 28th, and basically you'll need to have your cards in the mail by February 7th. So we've got 10 days or so between the announcement and when actually everything will fully kick in. But March 1st is when the new processing services will become available on site through the submission wizard, and then you'll basically need to have your form printed by March 4th in order to have everything fall under the old categories, and then it needs to be postmarked by March 7th, and it'll probably arrive, 3 to 4 days at most from there, no matter where you are in the country. Normally when I mail things out, they're there within 2 to 3 business days from the East Coast all the way out to Washington State. All right, so after analyzing some of the changes in fees, it actually looks like a few of the levels got slightly better in terms of costs, but not for the time frame that your cards are going to be out there waiting to be put online into your port. So let's see and take a look at those right now. The premium level, which used to be 3 business days and $1.20, is now going to go to a week, and it'll cost $1. So it's going to be 20 cents less. What used to be called the select level at 2 weeks was at 1.60 cents. Now it's going to take 3 weeks, but it'll cost you 50 cents. The basic level, which is probably what I use the most because this is where I'll put in like my gold parallels or rainbow foils of some common stars that I have received, and they don't sell for much more than rarely over $1. So I will put those in at the 30-cent level. That will usually take 2 months to get processed. Now that's bumping all the way up to 3 months, and those cards are at 35 cents to be processed. So the worst thing about all this is the wait time. Like I said, in order to get everything into your port, there have been a lot of complaints recently about deadlines passed and deadlines missed. So right now, if you have the 2-month service and it took 2 months and 1 day, you get your fee cut in half every card that was late, from 30 cents to 15 cents for processing fees. So there is a benefit if they are late, but it's still a hassle because you've taken so long to mail everything out. It gets there, they put it into their system, and then it takes 2 months and now going on 3 in order to get processed and get on site. So it's kind of a pain. They've added a whole new month to that and increased it by a nickel. When I first started on Comc, it was $0.25 per card to process. Then it went up to 30 cents, and now it's bumping up to 35 cents. All right, so a lot of that doesn't sound so bad, right? I mean, there's a reduction in cost, even though the time frame is going to take longer, but there are some caveats involved here. So we're going to get into those now. First off, you used to put in vintage cards into the standard levels at 30 cents. Well, you can no longer do that. Every vintage card pre-1980 is going to cost you 50 cents to process. We're going to take a look at some examples here of why that is going to really kill off a lot of the vintage market, especially those that might be chasing as a set collector. Even, Hall of Fame stars with their cards that are 4, 5, 10 years into their career, they cost on site, because there's a race to the bottom in terms of selling, less than 50 cents. So for the new seller going online here, not realizing, oh, I sent in, these Hall of Famers. I've got a bunch of them, and I want to get them on site. They cost, let's say, 55 cents is the lowest. So by the time you get it in there, you pay the 50-cent processing fee per card. They take their 5% cut on the back end. You're not making a dime, let's say a penny out of any of that sale, which is pretty crazy. Another thing that sticks out for those that have been selling on site for a while is that you can no longer sell anything over $100 without it jumping up a processing fee level. So how many people are going to be pricing their cars at $99.99 for that raw Mickey Mantle that they may have that they can probably get at $125 on eBay for? Who knows? But they're just taking cuts here into the profit margins left and right, not leaving a lot of bone on for the sellers. Another thing to watch out for, if you're sending in 100 cards under the standard level and you accidentally put in a few vintage cards into there and you don't hit the minimum in terms of vintage cards, you're going to be paying 85 cents per card to put on site. You're going to pay the 35-cent standard fee plus a penalty, I guess you would call it, of 50 cents on top of that for doing so and not putting into a lot of vintage all at once, which is crazy. It never happened that way before. They didn't care what year the cards were. It could have been from 1955 one, and the other was from 2020 tops. But that is going away, everybody, so be very, very careful to make sure you're doing only vintage lots or only 1980 and newer in the others. And finally, one of the most egregious fee changes that I could find reading through all this, ones that have to deal with top loaders. You put something in under the standard level at the 35 cents now. How much did it cost previously to have a top loader removed? 5 cents. How much does it cost moving forward? 50 cents. That is ridiculous. There can't be that much labor that goes into removing top loaders at the processing center here. That is crazy. There's going to be a lot of newbies out there putting everything in top loaders and not removing them, or just keeping the penny sleeve on, which is fine. That doesn't cost you anything extra. But the top loader per card, 50 cents to have it removed. Come on, Comc. That is not right. And you're going to have a lot of unhappy first-time sellers who you're probably just going to scare away from the site because they didn't notice that little fee thrown in there. Or they've been submitting for years and years and didn't realize the fee change either. And you're going to hit them with $100 worth of fees on a bunch of cards because they have the top loader on them. I don't know. Doesn't sit well with me at all. I also forgot to mention, for those that do sell comic books on Comc, that the fees have doubled there as well. It's not my forte. I had no idea, but those have doubled to about $2 each for processing, so keep that in mind as well if you do sell the books. Well, bottom line, you're going to have to get a lot more selective in terms of what you're sending in. And a lot of times, you'll send in a card, you'll see the lowest price right now is $2. It might be the current year card. Then you have competition 3 months after the basic service level and it's processed, and that lowest card is now down to 50 cents. There's nothing you can do in that regard, and the prices have crashed because it's a race to the bottom for everybody that's submitting. So, I don't know. I understand they're very busy, and they're probably trying to cut down on the amount of quote-unquote junk cards being sent to them. 1977 common that somebody might be looking for probably sells for like 8 cents right now. At the lowest level, nobody's ever going to be making money on that card if they send it from here on out. Like I said, there's a lot of newbie sellers out there who are going to be getting screwed over, not realizing everything that goes into sending these cards out to Comc now. As somebody who has now submitted thousands of cards on site and also sold thousands, I wish there would be a little give and take here. Now, I understand that because of the processing times at some levels, that it costs a little less. However, there's a 75-cent level in order to not be charged anything to store your card. So if you have it listed at 74 cents, it's 0 money per month to store it. You list it at 76 cents, and it's a penny per month to be on there. So I've always said it should be give and take. I wish that they would increase that level maybe to like $1 where you're not charged any longer. Just if you're going to continue to rake on the back end from sellers, they added the 5% fee last year on every sale, and now that they're increasing processing costs again, there's absolutely no benefit given to sellers anymore. And I don't know, that should change in the future, and I really hope they do consider that going forward. To recap, most levels are going to cost you more money to send into Comc, and they now will also take longer in order to get processed. Number two, don't ever use top loaders, even on a card. Maybe if the card's like over $50 or whatever, but I often send in my $20 to $30 cards in a penny sleeve, and you have them wrapped tightly into your package. I think they'll be fine. Don't use top loaders. It's going to end up costing you way too much money to have them removed going forward. And number three, you want to act fast. March 7th is the absolute deadline to have everything postmarked under the old system. Anybody watching this, March 8th and beyond, 2020, fees have gone up. There's nothing you can absolutely do about it at this point. You can look back on this video and see what they used to cost and what they do now. So they continue to take pieces of seller profits, and we're just going to have to grin bear it if you want to continue selling there. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or concerns in the comments below, please let me know. I will do my best to answer them. As somebody who's been around the site for a few years now and know my way around, I'm on it on a daily basis, and can really give you some insights on anything that you may have questions or concerns about. So let's have a conversation, and I'm sorry this wasn't better news. Like I said, you know, Comc is what it is. It's a big powerhouse, probably next to eBay. Sports Lots is going to be taking over on those low-end cards moving forward, I think. So we'll see you at the next video. Bowman 1951 out!